Night pressed heavily over the wasteland. A realm of silence, where nothing moved, nothing breathed. No wind stirred the dust. No trees reached for the sky. Only barren cliffs and cracked stone stretched endlessly beneath the weight of time. Yet, as the horizon stirred, a faint glow crept across the lifeless land. In its path lay a figure, motionless, caught between shadow and light. The first touch of dawn traced the damp strands of dark hair clinging to his brow, casting long shadows over the sharp planes of his face, locked in unconscious stillness. It was Tarsan. They had brought him here in the dead of night, while he remained lost in the depths of oblivion, the lingering scorpion venom still coursing through his blood, mingling with the toll of the brutal rites he had endured. He had not seen this place, felt the hands that had bound him, or heard the whispers of those who carried him. Only the faint rise and fall of his magnificent chest betrayed that life still clung to him, isolated and abandoned, in a land where even the earth refused to nurture life. The cruel mechanism that held him aloft remained unyielding. Suspended between two sharpened dead tree trunks, a heavy wooden yoke hung rough and unrefined, the same primitive methods used to trap wild beasts. His wrists, bound with sturdy ropes, were wedged into the yoke's cramped hollows. His neck was clamped tightly between thick wooden locks, immobilized. His entire body hung above the ground, his ankles bound together, the suspended weight dragging mercilessly upon his wrists and the crushing grip around his neck. Exposed, stripped of all defenses, he was left beneath the open sky. No shade, no mercy.
Stir him?
A low voice broke the silence. Cautious but uncertain. It was the village head.
No need,
Came the answer, firm as stone.
the great sun will call him soon. It always does.
The voice was Sun's, carrying the weight of command. They remained beneath the shade of a nearby mud house, eyes fixed on the figure hanging in the light. The sky had begun its slow burn, and soon, the heat would creep into flesh and bone, chasing away the darkness that still held him. He would wake, not by hands, not by voices, but by the hunger of the sun itself. The shadow on his broad shoulders shifted, as the sun climbed higher, its angle retreating, as the light grew sharper. Heat pressed down, relentless, and the first sheen of sweat began to glisten along the ridges of his chest and arms. A single drop gathered at his brow, trembling before it fell, tracing the sharp plane of his cheek. Fingers curled, muscles tensed, the weight of his suspended form stirring, before his mind fully rose from the void. His lips parted, revealing clenched white teeth, as a slow, ragged breath filled his lungs, his chest rising against the strain. Then, his eyes opened, staring into the blinding sky, the barren land below, and the merciless fate that now held him. Seeming to wait for that first move, the shaman approached, carrying a small bowl. With practiced reverence, he tilted the bowl, allowing the crystal-clear oil to spill onto the broad expanse of Tarsan's chest, rolling effortlessly over the hard ridges of his muscles, trailing down his ribs, streaking his abdomen, and soaking into every groove and hollow of his sculpted form. Slowly, his hands followed, spreading the oil further, and rubbing it deep into his shoulders, arms, and thighs, ensuring every part of exposed flesh glistened beneath the unforgiving sky. No words were needed. The first touch of the oil told the jungle lord everything. A sharp sensation spread across his skin, sudden and unforgiving, as if scalding steam from a volcanic spring had seeped into his flesh. Within moments, the heat surged beneath it, awakening every nerve and amplifying the fire of the sun. Then came the rub. The more it spread, the more the heat intensified. A slow, creeping fire that sank deeper. The sky burned sharper, his body absorbing, yielding, surrendering to the sun's hunger. Tarsan's eyes followed the shaman. As he stepped away, his gaze shifted beyond to those who watched. Under the shade, Sun stood at the center, unmistakable. Beside him, David, Carson, and the tribal heads stood in comfort, untouched by the brutal sun, while he alone was left to face its wrath. Then, the restrained heroes saw the village chief leaning in toward Sun, speaking low. The savage chief listened, and smiled. Finally, Sun moved, breaking away from the shaded gathering to approach alone. He stopped before the bound jungle lord. His skull-painted face gazed up at the suffering written into the stretched, glistening form.
They believe your sweat will bring life to their land. I do not.
The faintest smirk curled beneath the mask of bone.
Even if you ran dry 1,000 times, it would never be enough. You would have to pour out more than any man could give.
He paused. The silence stretched, lingering like the heat suffocating the air.
But this,
he continued,
I do believe. The deeper the suffering, the greater the release.
With both hands, Sun reached toward the log beneath Tarsan's chin. He turned it, twisting the carved spiral, and immediately, the jungle lord's head was forced higher, his throat stretched tight, his handsome face fully bared to the merciless Sunday. The shift pulled at every strained fiber, stretching his chest even tighter, the deep ridges of muscle thrown into stark relief, beneath the searing light. Every part of his exposed form was now drawn into perfect prominence, forced to endure more fully the weight of the sky's fire.